Hello my friends, this is Dr. Kazmi. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to talk about the latest developments in the field of COVID-19 vaccine development. You know that during the current second wave of this COVID-19, which is going all over the world, we have been seeing increasing number of cases, but in this whole scenario there have been a good news, and that is that finally we have got a COVID-19 vaccine which is quite effective. So if you go on to the live COVID-19 vaccine tracker, I will put the website over here, you will see that there are different vaccines under development, and some of the vaccines have been in the news, like Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine. And you will see that these are not only these two vaccines, there are so many other vaccines which are undergoing field trials. They have been tested on non-human primates as well as humans, and some of them have shown quite promising results. So one of them is the vaccine which has latest been developed by the joint venture of the pharmaceutical joint Pfizer along with the German biotechnology company known as BioNtech. Now, before I go into the details of this vaccine, I would like to tell you how the immune system works in case of COVID-19. Now, if you see here, what happens is that the COVID-19 virus has got protein spikes on its surface. These spikes are quite antigenic. So what happens is that when these spikes, they combine with the ACE2 receptors on the cells of the lungs epithelium, then this whole complex is taken inside the cell. And this cell, this virus, which is an RNA virus, all the code is there on this messenger RNA. So this RNA is then translated back into DNA by the human cell, and then the DNA makes a further copies of the RNA, and these RNA have got codes which tell the ribosomes to make specific proteins. So what happens is that the human cell starts developing the proteins for further virus particles, and what happens is that the human cell is taken as a hostage and it starts producing virus particles, and that's how the virus propagates inside the human body. So finally the virus particles are released, they go on infecting other cells, and the process continues, and that's how the infection spreads in the body. Now this is how in very simple words, how the SARS-CoV virus 2 infects the human cells. Now the German company BioNTech has perfected the technology to develop the messenger RNA which is contained within this COVID-19 virus. So they have engineered that technique, and now they can make this messenger RNA inside the lab. So what happens is that if you look at this messenger RNA, it has got, on one hand, it has got the what we call as the 5' cap. On the other hand, it has got a AAA polytail. So all along the length of this messenger RNA, it has got different codes which actually code for different proteins which are used in this virus. So some of them would be spike proteins, some would be the surface proteins, so on and so forth. So what happens is that in this vaccine, this messenger RNA which has been engineered, it is taken, and this messenger RNA is enveloped in a bilipid membrane. So this bilipid membrane is then introduced into the human body. This bilipid layer along with the messenger RNA is then taken up by the human cells. So when it goes inside the human cells, it starts translating for the viral proteins, but it is different from the actual viral protein in the sense that it only encodes for the spike proteins. So what happens when this vaccine is given to humans, this messenger RNA would go inside the cells. Inside the cells, it would order the human cells to produce copies of the spike proteins, only the spike proteins, not the virus particle as a whole. These virus spike proteins would then be released in the blood. So once they are released in the blood, they are highly antigenic structures. So they would incite the immune response. So the antibodies would be formed against these spike proteins. So there will be only spike proteins in the blood, no actual virus, and a lot of antibodies will be produced. So with this, when the immune system is activated, the body constantly produces these antibodies. And now your human body has got an army of all these immunoglobulins or antibodies which are there ready to fight in case if a real SARS-CoV-19 or SARS-CoV-2 virus comes into your body and infects you. So you would be having an army of these antibodies which would attack those cells, those spike proteins, neutralize them, destroy them by opsonization or by phagocytosis process by the human immune cells, and obviously the person won't be getting the disease. Now, if you see that this virus is quite effective, and Pfizer has released data, and they have done, I think they have enrolled, if I'm not wrong, around 43,500 cases. And then it was actually a randomized double-blinded study in which some of the individuals got the vaccine, some of them got the placebo. And after some time, they also at the same time, they asked those individuals who had either placebo or who had got the vaccine to report if they've got any SARS-CoV like symptoms. So of all those people who got either the placebo or got the actual vaccine, they were tested if they reported symptoms. And I think over a period of time when this trials were conducted, a total of 94 people, they reported symptoms. And then they tested their SARS-CoV-2 status. And they also unblinded at that time to see how many of them had actually received vaccine and how many of them had actually received placebo. And they found out that the vaccine was effective in around 90% of the cases. So 90% of those cases who had got the vaccine, they did not develop any SARS-CoV-2 infection. So that is quite promising data. And now they're further continuing with this study till they get 164 SARS-CoV-2 patients to see how much would be the actual efficacy of this vaccine. But even so far reported data which shows that more than 90% efficacy rate is there, has made ripples in the health industry, and people are quite excited about this vaccine, and there are plans to procure this vaccine, and Pfizer is already on its way to mass produce this vaccine, and hopefully by the next 2 or 3 months there will be mass productions in different countries, and governments are planning to buy this vaccine and vaccinate their populations. As far as the safety profile is concerned, this vaccine is quite safe. You can see here in that the data shows that there are only mild reactions like pain at the injection site, a bit of swelling and redness, and that is also dose dependent. So like it has been tested in different dosages like 10 micrograms, 20 and 30, and it's dose dependent. So higher the dose, slightly higher the reported frequency of adverse effect, but they are quite minor effects, and you usually see them with any type of vaccine. So this is good news, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 months there will be a vaccine available on the shelves or with the healthcare providers, and people would be able to get themselves vaccinated. I think at the moment Pfizer said that there will be 2 doses of this vaccine, which would have to be given 20 days apart. The only real issue is with the storage of this vaccine, because this is the first time that they are testing a messenger RNA vaccine. So this is not the traditional antigen or antibody based vaccine. This is an mRNA vaccine. So RNA, because it can get destroyed by ambient temperature, so it has to be kept at minus 70 degrees Celsius. So the storage would be a real issue, but other than that the vaccine is quite effective, and hopefully in the coming months we would see people being vaccinated, and the overall incidence and prevalence of this SARS-CoV-2 would go down. So thank you very much for listening. If you like this video, subscribe would be fantastic. Do share this video with your friends, and also press the bell icon so if whenever I upload a new video, you get the notification. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.